Hey y'all, just wanted to give a little welcome to our spring 2021 IXD course. Share a little bit about who I am as your instructor and your professor, and then also some tips that will hopefully help us have a successful and awesome spring semester in IXD. So let's just start with a little bit about me. My name is Ryan Firm, and I am a 2009 graduate of YSU's graphic design program. Actually, originally from Campbell, Ohio, right down the road. So if there's any Red Devils in the class, it's good to meet you. Please let me know that in your comments and in your discussion posts. But grew up right down the street in Campbell. I'm an ENFJ personality type, and if you don't know what your personality type is, there's a great website called 16 Personalities, which is super cool. It lets you know what your strengths, weaknesses are, others in the world who are like you with that personality type. So similar folks with ENFJ personalities are Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Ben Affleck, Morpheus from The Matrix, although I've never seen The Matrix, and a few others. And if I'm ever as successful as them, man, that would be awesome. So in addition to my '09 BFA in graphic design, I actually went back to school in 2018 to complete a master's in user experience design, which makes me really excited to teach this course. It's a course that I wish I had back when I was did my undergrad. But my master's was from Kent State University. So again, just right down the road. So you would think that I'm a local, but I actually currently live in Nashville, Tennessee, kind of, sort of. Live on the outskirts of town, but Nashville native for about 10 years now, and I've loved every minute of it. I've been the guest speaker at events and universities, and I think it's behind my video here, but I'm also a big fan of Creed. Please don't try to judge me on that, but Creed was an awesome band in the 90s and the early 2000s. Also a huge fan of Leon Bridges and Dawes. The band is my wife and I is one of our favorite bands. And I forgot to mention, I also was a All-American bowler in college there for YSU. So lots going on back from my time on campus there at Youngstown State. Michelle was actually one of my first professors there, and did a great job in helping shaping and mold my design thinking and just my skills as a graphic designer. And then have went on to have just a amazingly great career here in Nashville, and excited to share some of that with y'all in this semester. And please excuse the 2020 quarantine mustache. Everybody tried to grow one, and mine failed. This is just a snapshot of my life. So my wife Brooke and our daughter Kennedy, we've got a little one on the way as well. So sometime in the middle of this semester, we'll be expecting baby number 2. I'll keep you all posted on that. We have our trusty sidekick Lola. She's adorable. She's still a puppy at 5 years old, but she's a Cocker Spaniel Retriever mix, and she's just an awesome pup. We love her so much. And there's a great picture of me back in '09 there in the gymnasium, graduating with my BFA in graphic design. So back then, didn't know that 10 years later here we would be teaching back at YSU here with y'all, and with some of the experiences I've had in UI and UX design. And if you would have told me then what we know now, I would have thought you were joking. But super excited to be here with y'all this semester to be able to talk about UX. I'm super passionate about it. Be able to talk about interaction design and prototyping and all the things that go into making great digital products. Throughout my career in the industry, I've had just an awesome opportunity to work with so many great clients, both in a freelance capacity and then also in an agency capacity as well. I started my career in Nashville back in 2010 for a company that did like touchscreen interfaces for hospitality. So if you went into a Hilton or a Marriott hotel and you interacted with their business center or with a touchscreen kiosk, it was probably one of our products that I had a chance to design. I went on to work for a company called Parallon and did a lot of like back end data heavy healthcare applications. So a little less creative, but more workflow, more process, more understanding how to build a product, how to launch it, and things like that. And then pivoted in my career and went to become the creative director for an agency in town called Checked In. One of my favorite jobs that I've had Was there for a few years and launched over 200 websites and products over that time frame. And just had an awesome time. Worked with a lot of folks in the entertainment and music space, as well as some large corporate entities as well. Building campaign websites. So if you were interested in going to a Taylor Swift concert and you wanted to win tickets, we would actually create the digital campaign to do that. And so got to work on a lot of great different products, great different variety of individual websites for both entertainment and musicians and things like that. And most recently, currently, I'm serving as a manager of UX for a company called HCA Healthcare here in Nashville. HCA is a pretty large healthcare provider with hospitals and physicians' offices and things like that across the country. And so obviously 2020 has been an interesting year for us, but we work on healthcare related products. And so really, building and designing products that are ultimately going to be in a position to save lives or to impact lives, to impact doctors' lives. And it's such a tremendous responsibility and an awesome thing to be in a position to do that. And I manage a team of about 9 UX professionals, folks who focus on UX design and what we're calling interaction design in this course. But then also individuals who are dedicated specifically to accessibility. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means as well throughout our weeks together, and also user research. And so just a tremendously talented team that I have the pleasure of leading. And I've had the opportunity, like I said, to work with a lot of these brands over my 10-year career here in UI and UX design. I've seen where Michelle shared an article about some of the challenges of a remote course, and just wanted to reiterate some of those things here as we kind of kick things off. If you're having technical issues, I'm a Mac guy, so I'm not a PC person, and so if you have a PC, I would struggle to provide any help. And honestly, if you have a Mac, I would probably struggle to provide a ton of help if it's not related to the design tools. But if you have questions, if you have technical issues, please reach out to YSU's help desk. We've got the number there. It's also listed in the content and information within this course. You can see their office hours as well. I also love GIFs, and so GIFs will probably make an appearance in some of our presentation and our time together. Time management and motivation is critical when it comes to either working remote or being in an online course like this. In my master's program, it was all online. And so I sympathize with you and the struggles that online courses present, but the opportunities as well to go at your own pace, to choose your own adventure, to create that digital collaboration with colleagues or with classmates. And it also mirrors kind of where the industry is going from a design perspective, especially in the UI UX world, where so many opportunities are moving to remote workforces. So many companies are moving to remote workforces. But really, all that to say, time management and motivation, this is your future. It's in your hands. I want to help however I can. I want to make sure that you're set up for success with some of the things that we're talking about in this course. I would schedule probably about 6 to 10 hours, probably 8 to 10, somewhere around that range, work time for this class. It's going to be a mixture of understanding new types of deliverables and technologies, and then also digging into user interviews and research and design and prototyping and things like that. Use a calendar. I like to use Google Calendar or something like that, where I can actually put in my due dates and my deliverables and the times that I need. And so I've tried to do my best to outline in the course structure and in the course requirements, the dates and the times and things like that when things will be due. But just pay attention to Blackboard and the dates that are outlined there for when discussion posts and peer review and drafts and milestones and things like that are due. It'll be your friend. And whether you use a journal or a calendar like Google Calendar, definitely leverage that. And know that this class has purpose. You're staying on track and you're climbing the ladder to your future. And like I said, a class like this, back when I was in school, would have been tremendously helpful, especially going into a UI UX career like I've had for the past decade. And so I really think this is a great opportunity for y'all in a class like this to be able to come out of it and to be able to speak the language, because it's a little different. There's some nuances with UI and UX design that are a little different from traditional graphic design. And really, this is there's a lot of great purpose and a lot of great things that will build upon each other in this course. Understand the expectations. So read and reread all materials and instructions and demonstrations. Watch things twice if you need to. It'll definitely help you get an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish in this class. And if you have questions, please ask. Send me an email at rsfirm@ysu.edu. I'm happy to help. Always happy as I can and in office hours to jump on a call, to jump on a WebEx or a Zoom like this, and chat face to face. Help work through any challenges you might be having. But definitely don't be afraid to reach out and to ask for help. Interacting with your peers and leveraging alternative resources are huge to being successful with online courses, with online careers, or remote careers as well. Like I said, it can be a challenge to be online and kind of sometimes feel like you're on an island by yourself, but really leverage those discussion groups, leverage your groups that will be created throughout the course. Be proactive in giving feedback. Be open to receiving feedback and peer review, and just be open to discussion and use those discussion boards as best you can. And if you're interested in it, I can also set up some more chat-like things, whether that's a Slack or something like that. Maybe more of an unofficial communication route if y'all want even more collaboration that way. But just be proactive and open to giving feedback and receiving it. Be collaborative, share ideas, talk about each other's work, and give feedback that way. And we'll leverage YouTube. We'll leverage some other online resources as well. But there's so many great resources out there for UI and UX design, whether that's that's blogs or YouTube channels and things like that. And so those can be your friends too. Steve Harvey is my mustache crush. He's got such a great mustache. Uncertainty about the future. Obviously, 2020 has taught us so many things. And so it's easy to look at kind of the circumstances and the things surrounding you and just be a little uncertain and about what's going on. From an industry perspective, I serve as a manager within the UX space within the company that I'm currently at, and I can tell you the demand is super high right now for designers, especially for UI UX designers. With so many things moving digitally and online, and industries that were traditionally brick and mortar that are now having to pivot to online sales and things like that. The demand for a UI UX designer, I don't think, has ever been higher, at least in the time that I've been paying attention to it. And so with that, there's a lot of great opportunity out there. And with some of the uncertainty, what I've learned is just to roll with it and be flexible and take advantage of the opportunities that are before you. This work from home and remote workforce being on the rise is going to change the game for designers and for both graphic and for UI UX designers. And so there's so many opportunities that are at your fingertips, and the demand is so high right now. And just broaden your horizons. Think about how some of the things that you've learned inside of the types of typography and intro to graphic design courses you've had might translate into some of the digital things we're going to be talking about in this course as it relates to user interface design or building personas and things like that. And think about how you can use your entire skill set to really influence and make great designs in the UI and UX space as well. I asked a colleague who recently taught a course here at a local university if she had any additional thoughts or comments for making an online course successful, and she shared a few. This first one I think is great. You're always networking. Your fellow classmates are going to be great to lean on and to talk to kind of post school, to connect you with jobs after you graduate. I've had the pleasure of working with somebody who I went to school with at YSU, who 5 years ago moved down to Nashville and currently works within our design team, who's from the Columbiana area. I just had a Zoom conversation with a classmate of mine that I graduated with back in 2009, who wanted to talk about UI UX. So with things like LinkedIn and with Slack and with other opportunities to connect digitally, now these connections you make are going to be huge as you think about your next step moving on in your career post-graduation. And so, be proactive about making those connections and fostering them now. They're going to make or break. Sometimes they might make or break whether or not you get hired in the future. Another thing she said was bad news doesn't get better with age. And so if you have an issue, if you're struggling with something, with a concept or whatever the case may be, please reach out. Please send me an email. I want to make sure that I'm communicating as best as I can to y'all, and that you have a grasp of some of the things that we're talking about in this course. And so definitely reach out as soon as something doesn't make sense, or if you need help understanding kind of what we're talking about with a specific deliverable or milestone or something like that. And don't wait until the last minute. What I've learned is that UX design or interaction design is a process about iteration and delivery and deliverables building upon each other to ultimately create a great product. And so that's really difficult to do a few hours before something is due. And so, it helps to work a little bit on the milestone or the deliverable, day after day. You've obviously got the block that this class is dedicated for on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So leverage that time, leverage some time outside of that, and always be building, always be iterating to work towards that final milestone, that final deliverable. But don't wait to the last minute to do it. And if you've been in the classroom for any amount of time or years, you know that. And so hopefully that's nothing new, but just thought I'd share that as she mentioned it as well. So that's all I've got for this little introduction. I'm excited to be with you all this semester. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And we're looking forward to talking to y'all in some of the upcoming videos we do. All right, thanks. See y'all.